Mr. Mayor. I am Raasi. I'm 8 years old. I go to Shagrand Elementary. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for the interview. Please answer the questions briefly. How did you become the mayor of Johns Creek?
Well, that can't be answered briefly, Rossi. That's a long story. The reason I became the mayor of Johns Creek is because unfortunately I ran my mouth too long and it was hard for people to distinguish the city from me. So the longer version of the story is, way back when, there was a city called Sandy Springs. Do you remember that city?
Oh, I know that city.
So for 30 years, the person who had become the first mayor of Sandy Springs, her name was Eva Golumbos, she fought for them to become a city. And the same rules that were put in place that allowed Sandy Springs to become a city also allowed all these new cities like Johns Creek to become cities later on. And so when Sandy Springs found out they were going to become a city, I was just a community volunteer like your mom, and I realized that we were going to be in trouble if Sandy Springs became a city if we didn't also become a city. So when I decided that it was time for us to become a city and we started talking about it, do you know the city of Alpharetta?
Yeah.
And the city of Roswell? Well, they decided that they wanted to take part of Johns Creek, what would become Johns Creek. And so I got in a big fight with the mayor of Roswell and the mayor of Alpharetta. And that happened for more than a year. And because we were constantly debating whether it would make sense for places to become part of Johns Creek or part of Alpharetta or Roswell, it was me that was doing that debate on our side. And so the people started to think of Johns Creek and Mike as sort of one and the same. So they couldn't see us becoming a city without me becoming the mayor. So that's how I became the mayor.
That's cool.
I guess.
My next question is, what is the hardest part of being the Johns Creek's mayor?
Telling people no. People don't like to be told no. And sometimes you have to tell them no. And I think that one of the lessons that I've tried to learn over time is how you can tell people something they don't want to hear, but do it respectfully and do it in a way that explains to them why no is no. And generally, even though they're not any happier about it, they understand.
Oh. My third question is, what do you do in your free time?
So I don't have much free time because this isn't my full-time job. So being the mayor requires a lot of time, and I do spend a lot of time doing it. But I also, like your mom, I work. And so I have a job. And so between my job and being mayor, there's less free time than most people have. But when I have free time, I like to spend it with my wife and my kids. And I now have 3 kids.
Oh yeah, you had a...
I have a little baby girl named Emma Kate. She was just born 3 weeks ago. Tomorrow she will be 3 weeks old.
Aw, that's cool.
And I have 2 dogs, and I like to spend time with all of them. So I have 6 other people that I like to spend my time with.
That's cool. My fourth question is, my mom went to a medical school to become a doctor. Did you go to a school to become a mayor?
No, there is no school you can go to. There are leadership things that a lot of people take if they think that's what they want to do. But I didn't plan on becoming a mayor. I didn't ever plan on being in an elected position. Because, you know, the reason that I'm mayor is because people vote for you, right? And I didn't plan on that. And when I'm done being mayor, I'm not going to run for another elected position. I'll be mayor, and then I'm done. But because you don't plan for it, unless you plan for it, there's really nothing you can do to prepare. I think what I did was, if you look back in time, you can see that I started by being the president of my homeowners association. And then I was on the board of a group called the Johns Creek Community Association, which is a group of homeowners associations. And then I started talking to people about the city. And then that sort of naturally led to me becoming the mayor. So mine was just a bunch of events that I didn't realize were going to lead to this. And then I became the mayor. So have you ever heard of the frog in the pot?
No.
So do you know what happens if you have a pot of boiling water and you drop a frog into the boiling water? What does the frog do? The frog says, oh, it's hot, and it jumps out, right? But unfortunately for the frog, do you know what happens if you put a frog in a pot of cold water and then turn up the heat? it becomes soup. So I'm like the frog in the pot. If I had known the water was boiling, I would have jumped out. But by the time I figured out the water was boiling, I became the mayor.
My big question is, all the kids look up to you. Do you suggest diet soda or water?
Unfortunately, I'm not setting a good example for the kids because I drink diet soda, but I don't tell them to do it. When you're an adult, you get to make those choices.
My sixth question is, are leaders born or are they made?
Both. Some people are natural leaders, and some people learn the skills. I think I was probably in the born category, meaning that I never took any formal classes. Others, I think, can be taught certain leadership skills. But I think to some degree, everyone has to have some element of it, some part of it themselves.
And my seventh question is, do you tolerate or accept people who are different?
So I need it. So to me, toleration means you're just doing it. It doesn't mean you actually care. I try to learn about other people. And by learning about them, I would say that I try to understand. And understanding is different than tolerating. And so I try to understand what makes us different. And therefore, it's not about tolerating, it's about actually treating it. I think that people think that because you're in an elected office, you're special. And I don't think of myself that way. I think of myself as just like you or anybody else. The difference is that this is some place that I have to show up and do things just like you show up at other places.
When things are really tough, what do you do?
I do what I think is right. One of the things that I think that I've learned in life is that the thing that has probably done the best for me is when I listen to my heart, not my head. And so if I know in my heart it's the right thing to do, I do it.
That's what all people should do.
I hope.
My 10th question is, should I run for public office when I grow up?
That's up to you. I think that you should only run for public office if that's what your heart tells you is the right thing to do. So if you think you can help people and that elected office is the way that you can help them best, you should run for elected office. But see, here's the thing. You can help people in so many different ways. You can help people through your church. You can help people through elected office. You can help people by being a community volunteer. You can help people by being in charities. There's so many different ways to help if that's what you want to do. You just have to find the one that's right for you.
Okay. My 11th question is, what would kids have to do to observe you at work?
What would kids have to do to observe me at work? They just have to sort of tag along, because unfortunately for me, it's not every day that I'm just working on the city. So for me, sometimes I'm doing something that's city related, and then 5 minutes later I could be doing something that's work related, and then 5 minutes after that I'm doing something that's family related. So it's not easy to follow me along. It's easier to follow someone like, so your mom's boss is Chairman Eves, right? Right? So it'd be easier to follow Chairman Eves around because that's his full-time job. That's pretty much all Chairman Eves does. It's a little different than me. Actually, Chairman Eves also works. So some elected officials are full-time. Some are part-time. I'm part-time.
My 12th and final question. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you enjoy doing this?
Yes.
Are you enjoying doing this for Girl Scouts, right?
I don't go to Girl
Scouts? So why are you doing this?
Because I just wanted to know a little more about you.
So you just did it to do it. Well, that's great. There aren't many little girls who would do that. So you're following what? Your
Heart.
right. So my only question for you is, are you following your heart?
Yes.
And you're doing great. That's a great way to live life.
Thank you very much for your time.
Happy to spend time.
Nila had a question. Final
Sure.
question.
If you had one wish for Johns Creek, what would it be?
That's hard, because I've been looking for a lot of things. And it'd be hard for me to explain this to you. My wish for Johns Creek is for Johns Creek to have the money that it needs to accomplish all my other wishes for Johns Creek. One of the things that I've learned is that money is important because it allows you to do the things that you need or want to do, right? People who don't have money suffer a lot of times. It doesn't mean they're not happy, but a lot of times they suffer because some of their needs they don't have the money for, right? We have a need to eat. When we don't have money, sometimes it's hard to eat, right? Something you or I just do, right? Some people need clothes. If they don't have money, they don't have clothes. A city has needs. For example, Johns Creek needs lots of parks. Without money, you can't buy land. Without land, you can't own parks. And so my desire, my wish for Johns Creek is to have enough money to do the things that everybody wants, like have great parks, and have good roads, and have pretty meadows, which are things in the road, and have the trees and the flowers. All those kinds of things. And you can only do that if you have money. So that's what I focus on, is creating an environment, things within Johns Creek that allow it to have that money. And then everything else will happen. You're welcome. This is the office where when the council comes to City Hall, they use this office. So this is where they share an office. And of course I have my office down there.
Yes.
These are the folks that run all of the computer stuff for the city. So you see all these boxes are like computer monitors and things like that. This is our IT. That's what IT stands for, information technology. So this young lady has a very important job. Among all of the other things that Jennifer does, Jennifer maintains our website. So when you go on the web and you go to the Johns Creek website, it's Jennifer that helps make that happen. Can you introduce yourself?
Raasi.
Yes.
You go introduce yourself quickly. Go say hi to her. Keep it up, Jennifer.
By the way, these are my kids. Two of my kids, Jake and Carrie, my twins. This is our GIS department. This is a really, really neat thing. So, among other things, we have in here, where's the 3D printer, by the way? Right there.
Go
So
inside.
right here, have you ever seen, do you know what a 3D printer is? So you know how a normal printer prints on paper?
Yeah.
A 3D printer prints in 3 dimensions. So do you have something we printed? Here, yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff over here. See that? That was printed on a 3D printer.
That's cool.
That was printed on that. Ah,
Oh, look at that.
look at that.
Have you guys
That's
seen
done
this
on a 3D
before?
printer.
Yeah.
Have you seen it
There's a
before?
website to make this. This is so
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
I have an account.
So we're still trying to figure out how we're going to use this. But the other thing that they do here is they do all our maps. So all these maps and all of the information about the city of Johns Creek is housed right here. And they figure out how that information is useful to people. What are all these? What do they look like to you?
Signs on the street.
Right. So what department do you think this is?
The bikers and traffic.
So we call this the Public Works Department. They're responsible for the parks and the roads. Okay? That's why all of them have these signs. They're trying to be cute.
Oh.
But let me show you the best part of Public Works. This is our traffic control center. So when you drive on the roads of Johns Creek, there are roads that have cameras. And all of those cameras are shown right here on these screens. So you can see everything that's happening on the roads in Johns Creek.
Every single.
No, not every road, but the roads that have cameras. So for example, though, the cameras are so good that I want you to look at something really careful. What do you see falling right here?
The rain?
That's the rain. You can even see the rain in the cameras. But what we really can see is we can see lines of traffic, and then they use these screens to make decisions, and they can, in some of these traffic lights, they can send messages to the traffic lights and change them so that they can get the traffic to flow better.
Oh my gosh,
All across Johns Creek,
that is so cool.
isn't it? I think this is the coolest room in Johns Creek.
Look right where you were looking just a second ago. Watch this. Watch the second one.
Oh, that's cool. It's gone now.
Look at that, Raasi. Look at the second screen.
We can raise it up.
They can move the cameras around if they want to see a different
Zoom it
screen.
in. So we can say, smile, you're on the camera.
Only they don't know it.
They don't know it.
But this is part of what we're doing to try to make sure there's less traffic in Johns Creek.
Oh, that is so cool.
There you go.
Mayor.
For all those traffic lights, among other things,
Well, he's not.
is they can change all those screens to anything they want. And sometimes they put, have you ever heard of Georgia Tech?
Yeah?
They'll put the Georgia Tech symbol on there, but the mayor went to Georgia, so he doesn't like that. This is all public works,
Hey.
except for Ranger Robbie. What does this look like?
Um,
What area did I tell you Public Works is also responsible for?
Where do you guys play?
Parks.
Parks.
So Robbie's part of the parks.
Robbie.
You see, here's a picture of our dog park.
oh, that's so cool.
Have you seen that dog
You've
park
been,
in
you've
real
been,
life?
but not inside.
I think we've seen it before.
That was a concept of what it was going to look like in the beginning. Of course, it ended up a little bit different.
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit, not much, not much.
Okay, let's follow the mayor. Thank you. Hey.
Yes, give me a tour.
Hey. Good
This is
morning.
Marshall. Can you say hello?
Hi, nice to meet you. Raasi, and what's your name?
My name is Noah.
Are you guys twins?
No.
No. Are you friends? Are you sisters?
Yes.
Sisters, what grade are you?
Second.
Second. And what made you guys want to come here to the city?
I wanted to interview the mayor. Yeah.
Oh, he's a good guy to interview. He's a top man. Well, nice to meet you, Ross. What grade are you going to?
This is the gentleman who's responsible for Parks and Rec, or Rec and Parks, as we say. Okay, and if you come into his office, you'll see a bunch of stuff about baseball, because he loves baseball,
Oh.
and pictures of our parks.
Remember you wanted to ask something, Raasi?
Cricket. Will you make a cricket park?
We are designing a cricket park. I don't have the picture for you,
Oh.
because we're not ready to show it to everybody. But one of the things that we're coming up with on one of our new parks is cricket fields.
Oh, so the other Indians can play.
Yes, we're doing it just for that reason. So all of this is part of our community development. And that's hard to explain, but if you want to build something in Johns Creek, or if you want to add something to something that's already there, like your house, like if you want to put a room in the back of your house, you have to come through this department and they make sure it's done.
Okay.
And so we have people over here that do the inspections. They determine that you're not breaking any rules. And we have people over here that are what we call fire marshals. And they're the ones that look at the plans and make sure that you will be safe in a fire. And we have other folks that look at the plans just to make sure everything else is right, that the streets are wide enough, that the houses are put in the right place, and things like that. That's what community development. All those things that they look at are right here. That's a lot of paper. So if someone wants to come in and build something, they come in with construction plans. And these are all the papers that they have to look at about what it's going to look like when it's constructed. So, flip past it. There's the site plan for this particular thing. So this is what the whole thing will look like when it's built, drawn on a piece of paper. And this is what they have to review and make sure that they're right.
That's a lot of details to put then.
lot of details. That's why that when they print these things, they have to have a big printer. See how wide this printer is? That's what this paper comes off of. So let's see what else is here.
Well, that's a lot of bags.
Can you guess which is the fire marshal? Look at the pictures. Those are fires.
So they help stop fires?
What they do, well, the fire department helps stop fires, but more importantly, what they try to do is every time there's a fire, they try to learn what went wrong and what can we do to prevent the fire. Because the best way to stop a fire is never let it happen. The other reason a lot of people come to City Hall is you want to open a business in Johns Creek. So let's say that you decided that you wanted to open a store in Johns Creek to sell something. You have to come to this department to get a permit, which is to say that you're allowed to open your store. And these are all the people that issue and review those permit applications. That's the permitting department. Yep, to get a license. And you're probably not following the rules. We all have to follow the rules, don't we? The other thing you have to come here for, let's say that at your house, do you have a swimming pool? Let's say you decided
Subdivision.
you wanted to put a swimming pool in your backyard. You would come here to get the permit to be able to put in your swimming pool. That's the other thing you get. So you get business licenses and permits. And do you girls know what accounting is?
No.
So accounting is how you keep up with what's happening in a business. And the city is like a business. So we have to know, do we have enough money to pay for things, right? And so this is the department that tracks all that. So this is our accounting department. And this is where they figure out, this is how much money came in, and this is how much money went out. And do we have enough of it to do everything that we have to do? That's what happens here. So did you notice something? When we came through this doorway, do you see what color these frames are? They're black, but everywhere else, what color were the frames?
Whitish.
Right. We painted them a different color because this is what we call the executive wing of the city. This is where all the upper management of the city has their offices. So you've just entered the executive wing. So these three people are the deputy managers for the city. So we have the city manager, that's the top person, and then we have the deputy managers. They're right under the city manager. So here's our three deputy managers. That's where they sit. And each one has different responsibilities.
Say hi.
That's Mr. Eric.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Hey, how are you? Good.
And then as we come down the hall, so there are people that work for the city, and there are people that work for the city council, because the city council has to have help. And these two young ladies are called our city clerks. And at the Fulton County, they have a clerk too. His name is Mark Massey. So these are our city clerks, like the county clerk, and they work for the council. They help keep us doing the right thing. They help us run our meetings. They help put together all the paperwork that we need to do. The city clerk is a very, very important position, and these are two. It's our city clerk and our deputy city clerk. And then this person must be in the meeting when he's out. This is our HR manager, so we need to make sure that all of our employees are taken care of, and this is the department that takes care of all of our employees to make sure that they get paid, and that they have medical benefits, and all the things that they need to take care of their families, because after all, when you work to take care of your family. This would be our finance director. So remember the accounting department we were just in? The accounting department talks to this person, the finance director, who keeps everything on track with the money. And what did I tell you about money? Very important. Without the money, you can't do anything. This is the person in charge of the money.
The leadership.
Oh, that's Leadership Johns Creek.
Enjoy your visit.
Guess where I told you some people work for the city And some people work for the city council. This is one of the folks
Hi.
that works for the city council. This is our city attorney.
Hey, how are you?
And so,
How are you?
among many things that this person does, they make sure that we don't break any rules. That's why it's a very important position. And you see, he has all those books to keep him on track. And then this person, so he has 2 young girls. This is our city manager. So Warren goes home right about now, and he's meeting his girls when they get off a bus. Because they went to camp, and their camp takes them on a bus. So he picks them up off the bus. No, he's a full-time worker. It just so happens that he works flexible hours so that he can be with his family. I got your tour of City Hall. Now you see today.
Thank
Happy
you.
Supper.